Did you know? Part 8. Appian Way is a road in Rome, built in 312 BC and is still in use today. Wolves and ravens have special relationship. When ravens find a dead animal, they make a lot of noise to draw the attention of wolves. The wolves then open up the hide and provide carrion for the ravens. Ravens also interact and play with wolf pups and yearlings, and experts think that individual ravens often develop special bonds with individual wolves within a pack. A boy dying of an incurable illness wanted to meet Luke Skywalker in character. His mental state devolved to the point where he did not realize Luke was fictional. Mark Hamill agreed to dress up in character and meet the boy. He spent hours answering questions. The concept of the rap battle has existed since the 5th century, where poets would engage in flighting, a spoken word event where poets would insult one another in verse. The Norse god Loki is noted as having insulted other gods in verse. Sharks are older than trees. Sharks have existed for more than 450 million years, while the earliest tree lived about 350 million years ago. Sharks are also one of the only animals to have survived 4 of the 5 mass extinctions. The Japanese will repair broken pottery with powder gold lacquer to highlight imperfections, not hide them. The process is called kintsugi. The art of kintsugi teaches that broken objects are not something to hide but to display with pride. When the IRS auctioned off Willie Nelson's assets in 1991, fans bought the items and gave them back. In 1978, rock band Aerosmith paid approximately $4,200 to bail out every single fan that was arrested when cops invaded the crowd on a pot bus during one of their concerts. Jack Black's mother, Judith Love Cohen, was a co-creator of the abort guidance system that saved the Apollo 13 astronauts. When Judith went into labor, she brought a printout of a problem she was working on to the hospital and solved it just before Jack was born. Environmental activist Jadav Payeng started planting trees on a barren Indian sandbar in 1979 when he was 16 years old. Today he lives in the forest he planted, which covers over 1,300 acres and is home to rhinos, tigers, deer, apes and elephants. If Godzilla were real, he'd produce 12,921,400 gallons of urine a day. The Navajo have a tradition around celebrating a baby's first laugh. Around 3 months, they watch the baby closely for that first real giggle. The person who has the good fortune of eliciting that first laugh is then responsible for throwing a party. Strawberry blonde is the rarest type of blonde hair. DreamWorks used the movie Shrek, before its success, as punishment for animators who didn't do well on The Prince of Egypt. The studio saw computer-generated animation as a lesser art, so they would send failed animators over to Shrek. They even called it being Shreked. When General Motors unveiled the Camaro in 1966, automotive press asked Chevrolet product managers, "What is a Camaro?" and were told it was a small, vicious animal that eats Mustangs. Noah Woods, a 5-year-old Georgia boy, awoke to flames in the bedroom. He jumped out of bed, grabbed his 2-year-old sister, and got out of the house through an open window. He then went back in to get the family dog and pulled it to safety. He was recognized as an honorary Bartow County firefighter and presented with a life-saving award. The Black Plague solved an overpopulation problem in 14th century Europe. In the aftermath, wages increased, rent decreased, wealth was more evenly distributed, diet improved, and life expectancy increased. Eagles can spot something the size of a rabbit from more than 3 miles away. They see more colors than humans, and can also see in the UV range of light, allowing them to see the urine trail of prey. A Viking woman could divorce her husband for many reasons, including insulting her, being too jealous, not sleeping with her, or wearing effeminate clothing, especially low-necked shirts exposing his chest. Dr. Jacinto Convit, the scientist who developed the vaccine to fight leprosy, was still working to find a vaccine for cancer on his 100th birthday. Described as a popular hero, he never charged a patient for the care he gave. He published his last study at age 100 in 2013. In the early 1800s, opponents of the first smallpox vaccine feared that it would cause people to develop cow-like features. Having a younger brother or sister can raise your blood pressure by more than 5%. Platypus venom causes excruciating pain that can last for months on end, which cannot be relieved with conventional painkillers. Not even morphine works against it. The venom causes victims to become nauseated, suffer from cold sweats, and can even cause muscles to waste away. Real bees were used during the making of the 90s horror trilogy Candyman. Over the course of the 3 films, actor Tony Todd got stung 23 times. He was paid $1,000 per sting. The Wieliczka salt mine is one of the world's oldest operating salt mines located in southern Poland. Dating back to the 13th century, it is a historical monument and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Its attractions include the shafts and labyrinthine passageways, an underground lake, 4 chapels, and numerous statues carved by miners out of the rock salt. The museum at Grand Canyon National Park had 3 buckets full of radioactive uranium ore on display for 18 years. They only realized in 2018 when the son of one of the park's employees was messing around with a Geiger counter. Planted in the 1780s, the Sobrero Monumental, also known as the Whistler Tree, is registered in the Guinness Book of Records as the largest cork oak in the world. It has been harvested over 20 times since 1820, and in 1991 it produced over 2,646 pounds of cork, which is more than what an average cork tree produces in its entire lifetime. The Romans substituted criminals into plays for punishment, so if a character died in the story of the play, a real criminal would die on stage. The Japanese city of Hanyu holds an annual office chair race, in which participants must race their office chair around a 200 meters track for 2 hours to win a 90 kilograms bag of local rice. There is a monument in Georgia which gives instructions in 8 languages on how to rebuild society after an unknown apocalyptic event, whilst also functioning as a compass, calendar, and clock. The world's oldest surviving piano is at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. The instrument dates back to 1720, and was made by an Italian man named Bartolomeo Cristofori. There is a monument to honor the almost 1 million, often forgotten, Allied horses who died during the First World War. Of 1 million drafted horses, only 62,000 returned in 1918. Discovered in late 1985 by Arthur and Sonny, rainbow lattice sunstone is a mineral-forming igneous rock. Its distinctive iridescent lattice pattern makes it a very rare and attractive gemstone. It is found in a remote part of a desert in North Australia. The green falling code in the matrix is just loads of sushi recipes. Chuck E. Cheese's official backstory is that he is an orphaned mouse who does not know his own birthday. To make up for never having a birthday party of his own, he hosts parties for children. And his middle name is Entertainment. After Beethoven went deaf, he realized that he could attach a metal rod to his piano and bite down on it while he played, allowing him to hear pitch through the vibrations in his jawbone. This is called bone conduction. The iconic GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo 64 was created by only 9 people, and 8 of them had never once worked on a video game before. Brian May, an astrophysicist who collaborated with the team behind New Horizons, the first spacecraft to explore Pluto, is better known as the lead guitarist of Queen. After visiting a prison in Norway that treated prisoners humanely, a warden from North Dakota went back and reformed her prison based on Norway's model. It later saw sharp decline in violence against inmates and threats against staff. In 1493, Columbus mistook manatees for mermaids and wrote, "They are not so beautiful as they are said to be, for their faces had some masculine traits." In the movie Home Alone, the producers thought it would be too mean to use a real girl for the pic of Buzz's unattractive girlfriend, so they used the art director's son. In 1993, a South Korean professor successfully built and tested a self-driving car, which traveled more than 300 kilometers from Seoul to Busan, on the most heavily traveled expressway in South Korea. The government saw no future in the tech and cut funding to his research. Kidney stones under an electron microscope. Now you know why it hurts so bad. Sir Isaac Newton's apple tree still stands today, more than 350 years after it helped him to discover gravity. Taumata fukatangi hangako au otamati chiripakaka piki manga horonuka pakai fanuaki tanatahu. The longest named place on Earth is located in New Zealand, having 85 letters in total. Namibia, where the desert meets the sea.